first thing we should talk about, and by the way, I'm going to give you props here. I'm going to read the tweet first, and then I'm going to show the folks at home how Sheila Gunn Reid was Cassandra when it came to seeing the future. But it's from Prime Minister Blackface, and it goes along these lines, quote, "It doesn't matter what your sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression is, you are worthy of love. You are deserving of respect. You are valued. And as a government, we'll continue to have your back this Pride season and all year long. Happy Pride," end quote. What I'm getting at, folks, is a few years ago, our beloved Sheila Gunn Reid predicted that soon Pride Day, which became Pride Week, which became Pride Month, will become Pride season, aka that piece of calendar real estate known as summertime. And here we have it in official government pressers, Pride season. And by the way, I want to show what. So, by the way, in the meantime, Sheila, please give yourself a Barry Horowitz pat on the back for being ahead of the curve, unfortunately, in this case. And by the way, when I say summertime, it's more than that because we're 3 weeks away from summer. So it's kind of summertime plus the first 3 weeks in June. Lovely. Now, here's a Government of Canada Pride season. If we can just go up a bit. Now, this is a disgrace, and I'm telling you why it's a disgrace. You can have the rainbows, and you got the Pride Progress thing going there with the baby blue, pink, and white for the transgender people who were always part of the original rainbow people in the first place. And then you've got the brown and black lines. That's for brown and black people. I don't know what race has to do with sexual orientation and gender identification. Oh, and by the way, Government of Canada, you screwed up. I don't see that yellow splotch with the purple circle for non-binary. How non-binary phobic can you get? But here's the thing, Sheila. You don't do that to the emblem, the flag, the maple leaf, that's part of the flag of Canada. You don't give it a new paint job. That should remain sacred. But hey, what do I know? Anything goes. And if you have a differing opinion, I guess you're transphobic or biphobic or homophobic or whatever. I'm really upset by that, Sheila.
Yeah, it's just, I'm so over all of it. It's, give Pride to give them the winter, but no, they have to give them this part of the year where you're scantily clad in front of children,
naked sometimes, Sheila.
Yes, and there's something like underlying anti-Christian in all of this. For example, the month of June, at least in the Catholic Church, is dedicated to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. So it's kind of an important month for us. But it's been co-opted by anti-Christian nonsense, where if you are a Christian and if you hold an Orthodox Christian worldview of gender and family and sexuality and sexual behavior and standards by which you treat yourself, your body, and the people around you, you're suddenly a bigot. You're called a bigot by these people. If your Catholic school doesn't fly a pride flag, even though the pride flag itself is counter to Catholic teaching and the teaching of, for example, Archbishop Tom Collins in the Toronto area. He says the cross is the only inclusive symbol. It's the best inclusive symbol. If your church, your school doesn't fly the pride flag, the Pride Progress flag. Now it keeps morphing and changing. Things get added to it all the time. It reminds me of Homer Simpson's webpage. Do you remember that? when he made his webpage and it was like dancing Jesus and clacking teeth. And that's what it reminds me of. They just keep adding stuff to it all the time. But if you don't fly the flag, then you're a bigot. Even though you're like me, you just don't care.
Yeah, I'm sorry to my rainbow friends, but your flag is becoming the cloth version of the Pontiac Aztec, a horrible mishmash of lines and angles. I mean, what next? How about an illustration of, the kitchen sink on the flag? Maybe that should be the all-inclusive imagery. But, that aside, Sheila, I am absolutely gobsmacked that this community needs a whole month, or as the case may be, a whole season of positive affirmation. When we look back at November, we give one day to the veterans, to those who made the ultimate sacrifice to protect our country, our democracy. And that's good enough. In fact, I'm kind of amazed that Blackface himself even wears a poppy on November 11th as opposed to not wearing one, or the peacenik one, the white poppy. And I know what the reason is, Sheila. It's all that toxic masculinity,
Yep.
this idea of men going to war, fighting, killing, getting killed. Oh, a lot of toxic masculinity. You know what? Damn good thing we had toxic masculinity some 80 years ago, Sheila, because maybe, I don't know, we're speaking German today. Maybe the flag is the swastika over our dominion. So, when I'm looking at which group deserves an entire season of applause, it is the veterans. It is those who made the ultimate sacrifice, not people that want to march naked down Church Street. And of course, no criminal charges because, if it's gay or trans, it's good. And if it's good, it's gay or trans. That is the milieu that we live in today, Sheila.
Yeah, and somewhere in the middle, the normal gay people are like, we just want to go to the
That's
grocery
right.
store and
Yep.
walk our dogs. Like we don't want this.
Yep.
Somewhere in the middle, they're just being co-opted, and their community, as they say, are being sort of used and weaponized against everybody else. And a lot of them say, like, not in my name. Like the grandparents during COVID, they're like, don't lock up my grandkids in my name. A lot of the gay people are saying the same thing. Like, this is too much. We don't make it seem like we want to dance naked in front of children. And it seems to be that the far left are the ones that want to just encompass everybody into this amorphous rainbow blob. And there are a lot of people who don't want to be involved in it whatsoever.
And Sheila, one last point I want to make about this flag business. It is against flag etiquette when it comes to the Canadian flag to fly another flag on the same flagpole. You cannot do that. And I do see it being done. In some cases, I see that Pride Progress flag actually above the Canadian flag. That's a double no-no. And then in other cases, as we chronicled last year, I'll drive by their headquarters later this week, Recipe, which is a huge food service company, the likes of Swiss Chalet, Saint Hubert, the Keg, Harvey's, on down. Well, they just replaced the Canadian flag for an entire month and put up the giant rainbow flag. This is reprehensible. If you want to do this kind of stuff, at least have the decency, which some businesses have done, Sheila, to erect a second flagpole and fly it there. Because when you share it with the Canadian flag or replace the Canadian flag, you are breaching big time flag flying etiquette.
It's just so pointless, so much pointless virtue signaling. Like over the weekend, I was at the mall and, I'm walking past the jewelry store. Not that I'm a jewelry wearer, as you can see, but I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll pop in and look at a G-Shock watch. I kind of want one. I've been looking at one for a while, but I can't find exactly the right one. So I'm not willing to pull the chute on it. And I'm like, I got to navigate all these stupid rainbow flags all over the place. I'm like, why is this at the jewelry store? I don't understand. It seems like it's a thing to do. And if you haven't put up the thing, then everybody's going to get mad at you. I really even think that many of these companies that are doing it, they don't actually care, but they're like, the company beside me is doing it. So in the mall, so I better do it. Like if you're the unfortunate tenant next door to the body shop, God help you, because if you don't do something, then just by virtue of being next door to the body shop, you're going to look like a bigot. So I'm over it. And frankly, I don't even want to talk about it anymore. We've occupied 19 minutes of our time with this stuff. Let's quickly barge through the next few things that are on this topic and then get into some actual news that people care about.
And by the way, the one exclamation mark is the fact that the feds are providing $1.5 million for increased security at Pride events across Canada. What's that to do? To stop someone having a contrary opinion, asking an
Yeah.
impolite question, maybe telling one of the paraders, could you cover up your genitals? That's kind of like, oh, I don't
No.
know, against the criminal code. Is that what the security is? Because I don't see an uptick on actual real crimes
Oh, I
against.
do. I do, but again, it's not in the way that you think. It is people who are objectors to this nonsense being out in public,
Yes.
like half naked men helicoptering their wieners down a public street because it's Pride season now, so you got to put up with it for 90 days, and you're just trying to mind your business with your kids. And if you say anything or you scowl at these people because of the vulgarity of it all, they're going to come over and attack you. Our Tamara Ugolini was bullied on a public street in her own hometown where she lives by a man twice her size, dressed as, I believe, Cinderella, but I couldn't really tell, telling her to stop recording in public.
Yeah.
A parade, by virtue of it being a parade, means that it's public and it's a spectacle and you want people to look at it. So she looked at it, and this monstrosity bullied little tiny Tamara Ugolini, who I'm not a big woman. I'm probably 8 inches taller than her, and I probably have 30 pounds on her. And this behemoth of blue chiffon came over and told her to stop recording because he didn't like the reason why she was recording. If you are out on the street, you have no expectation of privacy, and it's a parade. You want people to look at you, they're going to look at you. Careful what you wish for, Cinderella, because you just might get it.
Holy Frankenstein. I don't know, Sheila, did you say Cinderella or Cinderfella? There's a surprise package waiting below that blue chiffon. And you're absolutely right. If you are in a public place, you have 0.0 expectation of privacy. Anyone is allowed to record. And by the way, I wouldn't be surprised if there's about 10 cameras on that individual, security cameras, that is, that are capturing his image. It's just that he noticed Tamara Ugolini filming, and Tamara Ugolini wasn't part of, the CBC, which is all down with the radical trans agenda. That's the object. That's why he's objecting to that, Sheila.
It's even worse. It's even worse because Tamara was guilty of wrongthink in her own town. She was not wearing Rebel merch. As far as I know, she wasn't, she didn't have a Rebel mic flash. So that's the thing that goes on our mics that identifies us. She was very smart. She knew it would cause a problem. So she went down there, cell phone camera in hand, just to see what is invading my town. So she went down there just to see what's going on. Somebody recognized Tamara as being a wrong thinker with Rebel News, went over, tattled to the drag queen, and then the drag queen came over and bullied her. Yep. And so that's the stuff that happens to conscientious objectors to the Pride Army, because you don't want to get conscripted into the Pride Army. You get bullied. But the increased security is for the Pride people and not for the conscientious objectors. That's a clip from something we call Rebel News Daily. It's our daily live stream hosted by my friend David Menzies, but the show also includes a rotating cast of hosts and special guests, including me. It's a great way for us to talk about the news of the day as the news is happening in an unscripted fashion, and it's an awesome way for you to interact with us as well. We stream every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Mountain, wherever you find Rebel News. See you there.